Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bulletproof Selling. Sean Rhodes here, Chief Sales Sergeant at Bulletproof Selling. And here we believe that hope is not a sales strategy. And so each week, multiple times a week, in some cases, we are here to increase the performance of salespeople and the results of their teams. Now, at this series, we actually get to highlight the insights from top minds in sales, from speakers, trainers, authors, consultants, and of course, those that are actually out there building and managing sales teams of their own. And my commitment is that every one of these shows, we get to build a sales system with our guest so that you can use it as a listener, as a viewer, no matter the size of your goals or the size of your team. And because we're all about process and systems here, I am really, really excited to welcome onto the show Mr. Matt Woodcock. Matt, welcome to Bulletproof Selling, sir.
Sean, super excited to be here. We're going to have some fun today, aren't we?
Yes, we are, my friend. Now, I love guys in your field because it doesn't exist without process. It doesn't exist without systems. So tell our listeners exactly what you do and what industry that you work in.
All right. Well, Sean, again, thank you for having me on. I am part of the franchise development team here for Fibrenew. We're a international franchising concept headquartered out of Calgary, Canada. We've got offices across the globe. We'll be nearing 300 units, 300 active franchise owners as we begin to turn the calendar into next year. But really what we do here at Fibrenew is we help candidates understand their future, right? They come to us from all walks of life, all different versions of pain. As a salesperson, it's always about understanding what the pain is for that person. But once we discover that pain, we try to show them that being in control of their life, being in control of their future is their future for their family. And then we show them through our Fibrenew process how we might be the right solution for them. And of course, it's always about approaching your candidate with the idea that we're not right for everybody, not everybody's right for us, and it's got to be a mutual decision. And from there, it's just about moving them through the process.
And so it sounds like that you are approaching people and they're approaching you, and they may not know a lot about your industry or your model at all. So I know a lot of salespeople are, calling in cold, and the people that they're reaching out to may not even know that that product or service that that salesperson is selling exists. So it's almost like an education from the ground up. So are you getting in touch with people that are looking for a new business in their lives, looking to own a franchise, or are they just looking for a transition, and you're presenting a business as one of the options for them?
Great point. It's all the above, Sean. I wish it was just one or the other, but we do get people who are looking for a franchise. We do get people who just want to leave corporate America. They want to get away from the 2 checks a month and a cloud of dust. They want to be in control. And for us, it's about helping them discover that sometimes business ownership is the solve for all of those problems. I talk to people who have missed their kids growing up. They want to coach the soccer team, and they can never do that. They're the warriors. They're out there, the road warriors. They're traveling all the time, and they realize that they're trading time for money, and that's such a mistake. In today's day and age, time is the one commodity you cannot get more of. Doesn't matter who you are, you cannot get more time in a day, in a week, in a month, or even in your family's existence. So
that's something that I think a lot of salespeople could sell no matter what it is they sell, because if what you sell helps your customer have a better life professionally or personally, then you are helping them with time. So I love the fact that that's one of the first things that you put out there. Like, if you're looking for more time, we are an option for you. Any salesperson could benefit from that.
Absolutely. And that's a pain point that just about any client you talk to, doesn't matter what industry, the reason they're talking to you is that they have pain. And I'm the first to raise my hand and say I'm a devoted member of the Sandler sales system. And if you haven't seen it, this isn't a plug for them. I don't work for them, but it's an amazing system. And it talks about the upfront contract, the bonding and rapport, but you have to understand the pain. Why is this person giving you some of their prized commodity, right? Their time. When you understand their pain, then it's easier, not easy, but easier for us in the sales profession to address that. And now you're not selling benefits and features, but you're actually solving problems. And that's where the magic happens, is from my desk.
And tell me about how many salespeople you manage. What's the size of the team?
Our sales staff is only 4, believe it or
Nice.
not. It's nice. It's tight. We've got decades of experience. And I think that's what makes it so successful, is that we all know our role. We all have a different aspect. We've got some people who are a little bit been with the company for a long time. We've got people like me who are just a ball of energy on a Tuesday. And we've got the people that can help those candidates get to the finish line. And again, it's always about mirror and match, right? We talk about process. You want to mirror your client and then help match to them. And that's having our type of sales strategy and our team put together gives us the ability to mirror and match just about any personality.
And how many years have you been in the industry with Fibrenew specifically, or franchise in general?
I've been in the franchise game. I call it the game. It could be called a circus, Sean, quite honestly, because it's so much fun. I've been in franchising going on 13 years now. I've been with Fibrenew a little over 3, but been in the business for a long time. And it was one of those situations where once I stepped across that threshold and saw the industry, saw what it was, and it's not selling hamburgers, it's not selling smoothies. It's really, there's so much out there that when you can help someone find their next step, put that smile on their face. Here at Fibrenew, process plus product equals success, right? That's the baseline formula for what we do every single day. And success for us at Fibrenew is a smile, right? A smile on our candidate's face, a smile on our clients. And when you have that simple formula, Sean, everything else falls by the wayside.
I love it. And so process, of course, is what we're all about here at Bulletproof Selling. It's one of the chief ways we help salespeople remove hope from what it is they do. So 13 years in the franchise industry, where have you seen salespeople in all the companies that you've worked with and all of the salespeople you've gotten to know in the industry? Where do they tend to rely on hope more than they should? As in the franchise model is all about systems, but a lot of salespeople, even if they're selling a system, don't have great systems of their own. So where do you see hope come into play?
The hope always comes in the financial piece, right? I hope I can afford it. I hope I can get funding. I hope I can qualify for the loan. Hope exists in that space, and that comes back to the idea of qualifying your leads, right? I mean, I'd rather know in the first 5 minutes that our candidate can't rub 2 nickels together, rather than 12 hours of my time and 4 months later and come to find out, well, my grandpa was going to help me out, but he decided not to, right? So hope is in the financial stage.
So do you feel like the salespeople that you've met that are relying on hope a little too much, is it in the qualifying part of their conversation? So some salespeople, I know not at Fibrenew, because I know that you run a tighter ship than this, but a lot of salespeople, do you find they might spend 4 hours, 12 months in a conversation with someone before they really discover this isn't the decision maker, or they're not financially capable of buying our product or service?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the number one waste, especially waste of time. And again, that commodity, we keep coming back to that, Sean, is you have to qualify them. Can they afford what they want? Because everybody's a dreamer, right? Everybody's a dreamer. And if they're not a dreamer, they're probably not talking to me to begin with. But if they can't qualify for the funding, or you brought up a really good point, if they're not the decision maker, what we know in the franchising industry is, it doesn't matter how great you are, this is not a decision that's made in a vacuum. And at Fibrenew, we want to make sure that it's a family decision. So we work very hard to bring all decision makers, spouses, kids, whomever needs to be part of it. We want them in the process as quickly as possible. So there's the other side of hope, Sean. That's a good call.
Yeah, I love it. And the fact that you're running a small team, and yet I know that you're dealing with folks coast to coast in North America, Canada, US, and then in a couple of other countries, as I recall as well from our conversation. So with a small team like that running across that much geography, I imagine that there are a lot of people that you have the potential to reach out to. And yet you and I know, we only have so much time, and we could blast emails all day, but it really comes down to that conversation. So for your team, even before COVID-19 really changed the way that a lot of people sell, it sounds like they were still having to rely a lot on virtual communication. Zoom meetings, phone calls. Is that the case, or were they actually flying out to meet a lot of candidates?
No, unfortunately, we do not travel, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Almost everything we do is virtually, and I will tell you, you're right. And one of the key components in the beginning is in ingraining in your client's mind that your time is as valuable as theirs. I only work by appointment. If you call me off the cuff, I will not take your call. If it's, hey, give me a call when you get a second, you're going to get me at the end of the day. I work by appointment, and I want them to know that if they're 5 minutes late for their appointment, I'm not going to wait for them, right? We move on, we keep going. And such an important part of the upfront contract, again, going back to the Sandler system, they need to know that it's a mutual decision, right? And in franchising, we have the luxury of saying that it's an awarded process. It's not, you're not buying something. We're going to award the franchise to you, and we want you to follow our process. And to take that just one little step further, Sean, we outline all this in the very beginning. My first conversation with them, when we're past bonding and rapport, and we start talking about the business, I'll outline the Fibrenew 5-step program with them and let them know exactly what it is. I will have them buy off on it in the very beginning, so that as we go through the process, if any time they stray from it, I can revert back to that conversation that we agreed to this in the very beginning. It's
Yeah.
so important, and it just saves time, right? Saves time.
And I love the fact that just from that conversation, I know that you are not walking into your prospect meetings blind.
No,
Where
never.
so many salespeople that I know, even the ones that have been in the industry 20 years, I mean, the reason that they're so good in their meetings is because of the 4,000 meetings they had that didn't work out well. And
Mhm.
if you learn the same lesson 20 times, like I forgot to qualify for budget and it's causing problems down the road in my pipeline, eventually you learn to start qualifying for budget, but only after a lot of lost time and a lot of lost revenue. So to walk into a meeting with a process like the one you've outlined, absolutely brilliant. It's exactly what we teach here at Bulletproof Selling. So I want to go back to the issue that you said a lot of salespeople in your industry are having a lot of problems with, which is getting the right decision maker on the phone and qualifying them early in the conversation. So a lot of salespeople that I know, they're dealing in industries where they might be reaching into a company and the job title of the person that's the ideal buyer might look different in every single organization. I know if you're reaching into a family unit, often it's not just, the wife who's retiring looking for that second career that's really making the decision around this. Maybe her husband has a say in it because he's going to be involved in executing the franchise as well. Maybe their kids actually have a say in it because now they're home from college. They might want to help out or they want to spend time with the grandkids. I mean, there's all kinds of these different issues coming in for qualifying decision maker and then making sure that, hey, you are qualified financially to take on the cost of our product or service. So talk to me a little bit about, did that change at all when COVID-19 happened? Did you find people more reticent to take on a franchise, to take on all of the responsibility that comes with that? Or were a lot of people like, hey, I'm working from home now, I need something to do? Talk to me about how that worked out for you in the last 18 months.
Sure. Well, we've been growing like a weed in the spring, so it's a
Okay.
beautiful thing. Fibrenew we're a service industry, right? We clean and protect, so we never had to slow down for COVID. But I don't want to go to that too much because I want to hit on the first part of that question. We'll answer the
Oh,
second
yeah.
one. You mentioned preparing for the call, and that's so
Mhm.
important. If you are just Google stalking somebody or LinkedIn stalking somebody, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, right? You need to do a little research. Who is your contact that's going to get you into that company? Who do you know? Wait, it could be a mail clerk, it could be someone on the loading dock, or it could be the director of human resources. Whatever it is, you need to do 10 minutes,
Mhm.
15 minutes of research. And it's so common that people, they just pick up the phone and just dial for dollars. And
Yeah.
we know that that's a mistake. So I have a note above my computer that says, be the one, right? Be the one who does that. And if you do that, you'll make all the difference in the world. So I wanted to just echo your thoughts on
Yeah.
that one. As far as reaching into our potential client base during COVID, we had people come to us who were scared that their companies weren't going to reopen, right? We're a
Mhm.
service-based business. We have a lot of people who are owner-operators right out of the gate, and they're scared their business wasn't going to come back. They were nervous that potentially their job was going to be diminished. The one I like to talk to is the person who got that golden handshake, right? There,
Mhm.
Sean, we love you to death, but you can't come to work on Tuesday because we eliminated
Yeah.
your position, right? You get the handshake, you don't get the watch.
Yeah.
So we were able to talk to a lot of those people and show them that business ownership it's the holy grail. And once you see it, you'll never go backwards. And Fibrenew offered an amazing opportunity for them to establish a business in an industry that is, I don't want to call it recession proof because it's such a buzzword, but in a service-based business, people are always going to need what we do, right? Leather, vinyl, and
Mhm.
plastic is all around us, and it's never going away. So we had a platform that was very attractive to people from all walks of life, and we've taken that, and I'm gonna take your question just one little step further.
Sure.
It's all about marketing. And in today's day and age, it's about video. And one of the things we've really embraced at Fibrenew over the last probably 5 years, we have an extensive library of before and after videos, day in the life videos. I even have a short 98-second. Remember, everything's got to be less than 2 minutes these days. 98-second little videos about who we are. Another one about our process, so that we can seed to these guys all this research that they can do on their own prior. And
Mhm.
taking advantage of texting has been that next step for us. And I know that's not new, but in our world and in franchising, that's a little bit new. And just understanding how effective text messaging can be as opposed to sending an email and it getting lost in the never never land. So there, again, be the one is what I keep coming back to.
Yeah, and so many companies have all of these resources. If you work for a company as a salesperson, you've got a marketing team. Their job should be to be creating the type of stuff you just mentioned: the videos, the training, the explanation of how the onboarding process works, how long it's going to take you to see a return on your investment in this product or service, all of those things. Now, the challenge that we find is that a lot of marketing teams create those great resources, and they might even tell somebody where they are. Like that's even the better step. They're on the C drive, they're on the share drive, whatever that is, or they're here on
Mhm.
YouTube or on Instagram. But then the salespeople never actually leverage them. So I find that one of the key problems that a lot of salespeople have with the marketing team is neither understands exactly what value the other can bring to the table. Marketing's creating all this great content, but nothing's moving as far as revenue. And the salespeople are out there dialing for dollars, as you mentioned, but not bothering to incorporate a lot of the resources their marketing team is building in. So essentially, those testimonials, those videos, they either never get seen or they live buried on the eighth layer of a website that you could never find, even if you had the time to go looking for them. Instead of the salespeople incorporating that in their sales process, like if I'm going to send a client an email, I'm going to include a video that they might not have ever seen before that's going to explain what we do, lend credence to the value of the product or service. Or here's some words from somebody that was in your shoes, Mr. or Miss Prospect, thinking about buying this thing. And here's the experience and the results that they were able to achieve with it. So I love the idea of building that as an active part of the sales strategy. It's something that, I keep coming back to qualifying decision makers because, wow, that is one of the biggest time wasters. I probably have burned personally, I don't know, maybe half a year of my life having to learn this the hard way before we began to realize by planning for our calls, we may not know who we're actually going to be reaching into to talk to, but we know how to ask the question that likely gets us to the decision maker. And in a lot of industries that I study and that I participate in, that's just one question. Like, how do you all go about making a decision around this? Instead of how do you go about making a decision? Because maybe they'll start assuming authority they don't have. But if I can make it generic, especially if I'm reaching into an organization, I can tend to get a better answer that then leads me into, is this the right person to ask the rest of my discovery questions with, to spend a half hour on the phone with, to develop that relationship? Critically important. So I want to build a sales system around this one with you, if you're willing to play along with me here, Matt, because I think this would be really
100%.
valuable for anybody in the sales world. So when we talk about building sales systems here at Bulletproof Selling, we talk about trimming hope away from sales strategies, because essentially that's what a good system does.
Hmm.
I know your systems in your franchise trim hope away from, is this business model going to be successful for me? No, the reason that McDonald's is so great is that you never flip a burger in your life, but you can open up a McDonald's franchise and just go off of the systems.
Hmm.
So I know y'all are a lot more tighter wound than that at Fibrenew, which is why you're so successful. So let's build a system around qualifying decision makers, which is sometimes the very first thing out of your mouth when you're on a call with someone. Because I need to know in the first couple of seconds, am I talking to the right person? Fun as it
Sure.
would be to have a relationship with you, Susie, to learn the type of dog that you prefer to have in your home and about your pet allergies, I just don't have the time because I've got a lot of value to deliver. So, like
Hmm.
when we talk about building these strategies, trimming hope away, use the acronym TRIM. So the T in TRIM is trigger. I'm curious to get your answer on this one. If I'm planning a sales call and my first goal is to figure out, is this the right person? Because maybe I don't know. Right? This is early stage of my sales cycle with this prospect. I don't know if they're the right person. Are they the decision maker, or are they qualified? With their budget. Does that process for me start before I pick up the phone, or do you find it better if you just get on the phone and ask the right question that gets you to the right person in the organization? What is the trigger mechanism for qualifying for budget and decision making capability?
Wow, what a great question. And I'm going to start off by a simple term my coach used to tell me: use your tools, Sean. Use your
Ah,
tools, right? You have
okay.
all these tools at your disposal. If you're not using them, shame on you. So
Mm,
whether you're seeding them with marketing, whether you're sending them specific things, maybe you're just recording a quick 10-second video on your phone and emailing them saying, I'm really looking forward to meeting you. Put in a face with a voice so that when you call them or when you reach out to them, they know who you are. But in our industry, I'll tell you the very first question. Once we get past the hey, this is great, good to know you, how's your weather, yada yada, I'll just pause for a second and go, tell me what brings us together. And
mm,
then I just shut up and I let them just verbal on me everything
yeah.
that they want to tell me, because I'm going to learn everything. They're going to get past the fences. They're going to get past all those speed bumps we put up there. And they're going to actually say, you know what, my boss told me that we're going to close the factory in 6 months, and I don't want to be the last person to turn off the lights. Or they're
Yeah.
going
And
to,
now they have urgency, they have need. Yeah, all the things. Okay.
well, you found their pain, right? You got
Yeah.
past all the fluff and you got to pain. So just one question: tell me what brings us together today. And then you
Mm.
stop and you just let them go. And it's the best 5 to 10 minutes you can spend in a sales call.
And that
That
works
easy.
if they're coming to you. But a lot of
Correct.
salespeople, and I'm sure your salespeople deal with this as well, they make those outbound dials where maybe
Hmm.
what brings us together is the wrong question because it's like, hey, dude, you called me. you
It,
you explain to me what brought us together, please, because I'm on the phone with you now. So,
sure,
well,
sure.
what do your salespeople say in those cases?
Well, we're in a little different dynamic because we have
Yeah,
we're selling a life. We're not selling a product. We're not selling a widget. So it's a little bit of a
right.
different dynamic from our standpoint. But
Sure.
I think what I'm trying to get to there in that statement of what brings together, what's your pain, right?
Yeah.
Why did you take my phone call, right? If I'm selling widgets, okay, that's great. But so-and-so took my meeting, took a phone call. Well, why did you do it? Let's talk
Hmm.
about why. Let's take that normal 8-question, meeting that everybody has. Let's tear that up, throw it away, start a new script. Why are we together? I mean, I can come in, I can talk to you about how great I am and how I'm 10% less than everybody else, and I can ship in 2 days. Who cares, right? Who cares? At the
Yeah.
end of the day, it doesn't matter. What is your pain? Why did you take this meeting? And again, if you get to
Mm.
that stage where they're sharing with you why they gave you their prized commodity, time, right? Why they gave you their prized commodity, now you're past all of it, right? A nickel difference doesn't matter to a buyer if they can get exactly what they want without more time being wasted. So maybe that's a different way of looking at that question.
Yeah. So we've covered into diving into pain and need, and often budget comes out of that very question as well, because
Right.
are they retiring after a 20-year career somewhere? They likely have some reserves, or are they 18 years old and they just got fired from their first job at a fast food chain? Uh, Different needs, different stages of their lives. So that
Absolutely.
might discover need, but then how do I ascertain who the decision maker is in what is often a very complex sale, even in your world? How do I
Hmm.
figure out who's the person that really has 51% of the vote here?
Well, in our particular industry, it's about bringing everybody to the table. And
Ah,
sometimes it's just simply requiring them. We talked about earlier that I only work by appointment. I will often tell them that I will only schedule that next appointment if we can have everybody there. And if
yeah.
we need to wait a week, if we need to wait 2 weeks to make that happen, that's fine. With the magic of Zoom, Sean, they don't even have to be in the same building, right? They can be anywhere
Right.
in the world. It doesn't matter. Grab your phone. And I've found that when you put a little speed bump in front of people and they have to make that effort, not
Mm,
only do they become a real candidate for you instead of just a tire kicker who might be interested. When you put a little speed bump in front of them, they have to work a little bit. You're going to get a much better candidate. And again, I don't want to spend 9 hours of my life in 9 meetings talking to somebody just because they've got a nice puppy, like you said earlier,
right.
right?
Yeah.
We want to get to that stage because I want to work smarter. That's just important to me in my life.
So it sounds like the trigger is as soon as you get into that conversation, you're either asking, what brings us together, if it's an inbound inquiry, because
Hmm.
that way they can start explaining, what exactly life situation, business situation brought them to the table. And if you're dialing out, then it really comes down to explaining very quickly, and I'm guessing this happens in less than a couple of sentences, what value you bring to them and to figure out, are they even available for talking about that thing. And
Hmm.
obviously, reaching into an organization that has a history of buying what you sell breaks down so many barriers. Because if I reach
Correct.
into an office building and I say, I'd like to sell you this holographic, I don't know, office plant, that's no experience, no need. That sales conversation is not going to go very far, right? But if I'm reaching into IBM or IT tech, and I say, hey, I've got this brand new technology, it's going to revolutionize the way that people work. Maybe that'll get me a little further in. So I think it's all about staging that. So that's the trigger. That's great. The second piece of this acronym is the R in TRIM, which is making this thing repeatable. So what I don't want to do is try to guess my way through remembering all the conversation that I had with Matt or with my VP of sales
Hmm.
or my trainer or the last sales book that I read. So if I'm mapping out this into a system, how do I make sure that I'm repeatable in the way that I'm ascertaining budget and trying to figure out who the decision maker is? Is that a checklist? Is it something in my CRM? Is it a list of things I need to do? Explain to me how you'd advise salespeople build this thing.
So obviously, whatever CRM is provided to you or that you have in your system, that's the holy grail, right? That's what's going to live behind you. But what I do is I record them, right? Why
Hmm.
not? If it's a Zoom meeting, why not record it and then share them among each other, right? Shift them back and forth, listen to each other, understand it. The other really important part for this, Sean, is when you reach the end of the road with a candidate and it doesn't come forward, take 5 minutes, right? Not only are you going
Hmm.
to ask for the referral, always ask for a referral, right? Because you made it to that stage. They might not need you, somebody else might, but take 5 minutes and actually review. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? Just have a simple checklist. Did I have the right person? Did I understand their pain? Did we discuss budget early enough? Do that autopsy, for lack of a better word, and just understand where are those landmines. Because once you see them, as you said, you've wasted half a year of your life on bad sales calls. I've wasted more than that. But when you start to look down the list and you go, you know what? I didn't have all the decision makers in the room. And as much as they wanted to run super fast, and the COO wasn't available, he was out of the country, but they wanted to meet next Tuesday. I should have waited. I should have waited 5 more days until I could have had all the decision makers in the room, because I can have those guys all in lockstep, but if the true final decision maker is not sitting at the table, all I did was waste time.
And you've already skipped into the I of trim, which is making this thing improvable. No, you're good, man, because your brain is absolutely in the right spot. So not only do I need to have a trigger for this system, which is picking up the phone, getting ready to have a conversation, I got to make it repeatable. And you mentioned, use your CRM, use whatever tools you have available to you. But then to improve it, it's after the call, ask, how could I have made this thing better? Or knowing what I know now, what should I have done? Should I have waited? Should I have asked different questions? What question did I ask that probably wasn't even appropriate, that kind of shut the conversation down, that I had to recover from? Did I inadvertently offend somebody? Because, humor sometimes does that. Funny as you and I try to be, I know. We're not always as funny as our spouses might, try to coach us on that a little bit.
Sure.
So I absolutely love making this thing improvable. Now, the final bit in this is the M, which is making it measurable. So what am I measuring against as a salesperson? Did I ascertain the right decision maker early? Did I qualify them for budget? Am I looking at throughput through my pipeline? Am I looking at just straight converted sales? What do you recommend I begin tracking to make sure that I am qualifying decision makers and getting people that have the budget to spend early and often?
Okay. In our world here at Fibrenew, we have a 5-step sales program, right? It's proven. We've been using it for years. And so I track where each candidate is, and if one falls off the system, where did they fall out? At 20, 40, 60, 80, or 100%. And you'll begin to see that through line of, okay, you know what? I can get them to our 40% stage, but then they're dying off. Or I can get them to the 80% stage, and they're not able to make that decision.
Right.
Numbers never lie, Sean, right? Numbers never lie. And so once you begin to see within your proven sales system, whatever that is, when you see where they begin to fall off, if you see an unnormal number, if it's not curved correctly, then you need to address it and say, okay, do I need to add marketing between step 3 and 4 to really reinforce our message? Is it after, step 4 to 5 before the true buying decision? Do I need to have more validation sent to them? Do I need to have like-minded businesses reaching out to them on my behalf? What do I need to do to improve those measurable steps? And for me, and I think in any good sales system, that's where you see it. So that's my measure.
No, that's beautiful. And what you explained to me was then the verticals of a pipeline from they don't know me, I don't know them, all the way through to they're ready to put ink on paper for this. Whatever stages might be for you, it's 5. For some organizations, it's more or less. But to be able to track, how many did I lose out of that stage? Where they didn't convert, they didn't move to the next one. We lost touch with them, they lost touch with us. And then to ask, all right, for those people coming through, because obviously you're trying to put new leads in all the time, what do I need to do to change that vertical of that process in my pipeline? Maybe I know who the decision maker is, but haven't qualified them for budget, or they haven't committed to that next meeting, whatever that is for you, to track what your loss rate is, and then to try something new. And I think that's absolutely critical. Do I need to send them more validation, more testimonials, more information? Do we need to mix up the way we communicate? Maybe we're only email on that stage. Maybe we should pick up the phone, send a LinkedIn message. I love the idea of sending a quick video. Haven't heard from you in a week, wanted to make sure that you'd receive that information that you asked for. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. I'll be in touch via phone in 3 days. Quick video, done, out the door, right? So a lot of great ways to do that. Now, we've built this complete sales system, Matt. I hope you appreciate what we've done. We've literally revolutionized the world of sales, qualify decision maker, and get budget, and make it repeatable and improvable. Something that every salesperson could benefit from. So, for those of you that listening right now, watching, that don't know about Matt, don't know about Fibrenew, obviously very well spun with their systems. Matt, how do we find out more about you, your franchise, get connected with you online? How do we get into your world?
Well, thanks, Sean. And you know what? I'm everywhere. Fibrenew is everywhere, I should say. Fibrenew, Fibrenew.com. Just go there. You can learn about us. You can learn. There's an entire piece about the franchise system. Obviously, I'm on LinkedIn. If you're listening to me, you're going to see me connected with Bulletproof Selling, of course. But I'm happy to talk business with anybody, Sean. It doesn't have to be about Fibrenew. We'll schedule an appointment, right? We only work by appointment. But I'm happy to talk business with anybody, because I love what I do. I love selling. And when people are good at selling, it's neat to watch. It really is. And if you don't have a system, well, then you're just trying to learn how to swim. You're dog paddling. But if you have a system, it is a sexy, sexy thing to watch.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's why I love doing it too. Well, Matt, thanks for joining us today. And for all of you listening out there and watching our live streams, make sure you're following us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, where we archive all of these great conversations absolutely free. And of course, turn them into podcasts. And you can get those podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Cast, anywhere the podcast can be found. And for more sales systems to help you replace hope with certainty on your team and in your sales pipeline, check out the free resources that we are posting new every single day over at bulletproof-selling.com. Well, Sean Rhodes here with Mr. Matt Woodcock. Matt, it's been a pleasure serving the sales community alongside you. Let's get out there and make selling bulletproof.
Love it. Thanks, Sean.